What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Raw on Netflix podcast. I am your host, Ricky Valero. On today's episode, we are going to be breaking down the aftermath of Elimination Chamber, kind of, as this most recent episode of Raw was packed with some wild and crazy things. We had a couple titles on the line. We had a title change hands. We have a lot of movement towards WrestleMania. As always, I am joined by my partner in crime here, Mr. Dom Fisher. How are you, man?
Finally, Ricky and Dom are back on the podcast. Man, it was a busy, 3 days, between Elimination Chamber, Oscars, and then Raw last night. It's been a really it's been a good strand of days. Considering whatever else is going on, but yeah, look, we've been talking about it, and it's turning up. It's getting it's getting to a really good place. I see like more people talking about wrestling than I've seen. Now, it could be because we're deep in it again, and I'm noticing what I didn't notice before. But I've seen people that I've never seen talk about wrestling online talking about it again. People are getting excited again. So whatever, Triple H got brewing up over to him and The Rock, and they're doing they're working some magic, and it's definitely, after Saturday, WrestleMania is gonna be nuts.
Yeah, I mean, I will say this, like, obviously some of the aspect of it is Triple H, right? You know what I mean? We understand that, but I would say there's a heavy element, especially with some of the stories coming out. There's a heavy element of The Rock here, kind of, you know, doing his thing, putting his foot down. Because to me, as if everybody listened last week, I was on the right path. I had the wrong person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's not that. It's like it was one of the most talked about moments in history of the Elimination Chamber. Obviously, we're talking about The Rock, John Cena. John Cena turning heel on the entire world, kind of shocking the world with that turn, reminiscent of the early days of when Hulk Hogan did the same thing, broke all of our hearts when he joined the NWO. But slightly different, obviously, for me. I don't think it's as big, but it was still such a great moment. And the chamber was really good. You know what I mean? We opened with the women's chamber. I thought that was really good. Jade coming out. We talked about that here. Obviously, it wasn't a. It was the worst cast, worst
Yeah.
cast in the world. You know what I mean? But that was definitely interesting to see her come back and beat the brakes off of Naomi.
Yeah.
And then obviously Bianca wins the Elimination Chamber. Happy about that.
Yeah.
You know,
And
I
what
was
does she have in her ponytail?
I don't
That
know, but
whip was something crucial. Jeez.
God, that
Shout
hurt
out
me
to
so
Liv.
bad.
Liv is such a fucking, we've been seeing it, MVP. Like, she is such a good wrestler, man. Like, she not only has the moves, the looks, she can sell the finishes, she can take the bumps. Like, dude, she's so good.
Yeah, to me right now, if we're going on wrestling, I mean, she's by far the MVP of this year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's capable of doing in the ring, and she's only getting better each week. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's what's the impressive thing about Liv. Obviously, we had a couple other matches. I'm going to gloss over those. The Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens, they beat the shit out of each other. I thought it was a solid match, but really the setup was Randy Orton's back. Looks like Randy Orton, Kevin Owens will have something brewing for WrestleMania probably. I'd be willing to bet. And then of course, when the segment when the main event for the Elimination Chamber started and the segment with Cody didn't happen, I knew something crazy was bound to happen, right? You know what I mean? You knew something was cooking. You know what I mean? Pun intended there. And nonetheless, solid chamber in some aspects. Fucking furious at Drew McIntyre being eliminated.
I know.
Like, please stop doing this to my dude. You know what I
He
mean?
keeps losing to that same pin too. He's very, I guess he's very top heavy because anytime he gets pinned in that way with his legs up in the air, he always loses.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
it's just
I didn't foresee him being taken out that quick though.
no. And it's funny going into the night, it was rumored that he was going to win.
Ooh.
And I was like, man, that would have been awesome. But then apparently, I think from what I've read on the internet, or Dave Meltzer, very popular Dave Meltzer, he's got the end in the business, but Dave Meltzer came out and said basically that The Rock approached, and I actually have the tweet still here, I think. Let me pull it up here real quick. It's a now since deleted tweet. The motivation is that Dwayne wanted Cody to be the guy, right? He wanted him to be he wanted him to turn. However, Triple H kind of fought it. Nick is the other third member of Nick Khan, he's the, so Rock kind of just basically gets what he wants there. However, him and Cody couldn't come to an agreement there. So Cena was the second choice. Cena was perfectly fine with it. Apparently Punk was never even asked. How it unfolded, incredible, right? You know what I mean? It became creepily suspicious that Cena was going to be the person.
Yeah.
Because of how it kind of unfolded. I mean, what did you think of the entire? I mean, first off, Travis Scott smacked the dog shit out of him.
Yo, that.
And we talked about it here before. That man's getting a receipt. Okay.
Cody Rhodes. Look, man. Cody, if I'm Cody, I'm like, bro, you gotta see me, dude. Like that like, and we saw today that it was like suspected or announced that Travis busted his eardrum, because the first thing I noticed, and me and Ricky talked about it off air, but I was like, he looked like he had a concussion. Like he had that like glazed look in his eyes, and he just something looked off more than just like this is him looking defeated. I was like, yo, something's wrong. And you can tell when you go from that other angle when he slaps him, he turns so quick, because that was essentially like a palm strike. It wasn't just a regular slap. Like I don't know if Cody said something to him backstage. I don't know if Travis was, lit. I don't know, but I was like, holy shit. But I know, I mean, that whole segment, I love just the way that it played out, because you had Cena being like, hell yeah, you told him to go fuck himself. Yeah, and then just this is where the acting prowess comes in. That face change, I was like, dude, oh, it's so perfect. Like, I need that on a shirt. Like, and then just him full on whooping the dog shit out of Cody. Like, it was intense. It definitely felt, not to mention NWO, it definitely felt back to those days where NWO would attack somebody, rip their shirt off, spray paint NWO. That's exactly what it felt like. Yeah, it was a great moment. I mean, the reactions are perfect. I mean, you have the kids like, no, what are you doing, Cena? People crying. Like, this is why we love wrestling. Like, for these moments where you get these like legitimate reactions from people, because I had I had to explain to my stepson, because he's not really into it yet. I think he wants to be, but he was like he asked that question, is it real? And I said, it's like you're watching a movie, man. This is a live action movie, like, and you're watching it live.
Except for it fucking hurts.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. I was like, the stunts are real. Like, these people really get hurt, they really get injured. People, unfortunately, some have lost their lives, but this is like legit. And he's like, as soon as he hears that, he's like, oh. And I saw that, like, that draw. He was drawn in. So like, wrestling can have that. It can have that effect, because it's a very powerful thing to see something that you can witness when you go to a theater live and play out like this, this superhero type soap opera. Like, yeah, it was good.
Yeah, it was I really enjoyed the moment there, right? You know what I mean? It was fantastic, and it definitely sets up WrestleMania, you know what I mean? And to me, in my opinion, I don't feel like we're in a bubble where like Cena has to win.
Mm-hmm.
like Cena has to win. You know what I mean? Like I don't foresee it any other way. Um, unfolding any other way, right? You know what I mean? So to me, Cena has to win.
It's definitely set up
Any other
like.
thoughts on?
Oop. No, it's definitely
Yeah, can you
set
hear me?
up. Yeah, I hear you. Hear me?
Okay, there we go. All right.
Okay.
I don't know what's going
No,
on.
it's definitely
All
set
right.
up perfectly for Cena to win, and I don't know if it's too on the nose, and then you have to somehow augment it, but this is what it's looking like. It's looking like it's a perfect storm for Cena to win the title.
Yeah, and it leads to something bigger. You know what I mean? It leads to something
Mhm.
Survivor Series. Maybe we got like The Rock and this person and this person, this person versus this person, this person, this person type of thing. So, but let's move on to Raw. And let me make this statement. I was going to make it at the end now instead because to me, um, to open Raw after the biggest heel turn in the history since like the NWO, and you have none of the people involved with that to open Raw is really bothersome to me. Like,
Yeah.
I understand. And then we had to see it 750,000 times throughout the entirety of the night, but we don't have any of the principal people scheduled to show up at Raw to make. I understand you're trying to drag it out, but fuck, man.
I know at least have like some kind of like Travis just lingering around for no reason, like something, to give us that, because we all want to know, like, yo, like, what are the reactions to from The Rock now, or from Cena, or from Cody after you've fucking left bloody and torn your shirt torn. So yeah, I don't know why they did that. And I will say this was one of the most like discombobulated episodes of Raw so far, as
Yes.
far as like we said before, the commercial breaks come in weird, and there's a little too much people just coming out to talk. Like I kind of feel bad for Buffalo because it seemed like they were setting everything up for Madison Square Garden next week. So I was just like,
Yeah.
Buffalo kind of got a raw deal.
Yeah, it was like, hey, just FYI, we're going to use you guys as a stepping stone for the big show next week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But one of the things I complain about week in and week out is the fact that when they play the music when somebody comes out, they did it again this week. Issue number 2 is, can we stop having CM Punk arrive in a vehicle that he's already been there all fucking day, and then just so happens to pull up into the area where he can pull up, walk around, and get right into the arena. I will say this: Punk's promo opened the show. Best Punk promo we've heard from him. Less corporate Punk,
Yeah.
more no give a fuck Punk. Obviously, he called everyone out, called The Rock out, called The Rock a bitch, all these other things.
He's like, yeah,
Um,
we'll do it, yeah.
yeah. Which I mean only leads to Rollins and Punk beating each other up for the 100th fucking time. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm tired of it. I'm tired of these two. Obviously, next week's a steel cage match between them. It happens at some point in the damn card or whatever, where they announce it's going to be a steel cage match, Madison Square Garden, between these two. I'm wondering if one of them. I mean, CM Punk has to win. I think this is a CM Punk win, unless, yeah, it's just a CM Punk win. I mean, I don't, unless Rollins wins and CM Punk takes some time off. I don't see that happening. So I mean, if
Yeah, I
Rollins
don't
is going to take
either.
some time off, I can see that happening. But solid promo. Tired of Rollins versus Punk.
I know it's at least this time there was some action. It wasn't just
Yeah,
rambling
yeah.
and just him in those banana shoes, man. I couldn't help but like stare. I was like, why you got these big ass? I think they're a Hokas. I'm like, well, these shoes are gigantic, dude. Like, you look ridiculous. What are you doing?
Speaking of a real fighting champion, one that Cody promised to be when he won the title. Remember, as everybody remember that whenever he said, "When I win the championship, I'm not going to be any different than what I am right now," and has won the title and has like wrestled 6 times in last year. Um,
I know. Wife was like she knows who Cody Rhodes is now, but she's like before she's like, oh, the guy with the suit. And I was like, yeah. Every time she sees him, he's wearing a suit. That's all you see him with the suit. Yeah, I'm gonna go do something. Okay.
it's not wrestle though. But
Yeah.
wrestling, speaking of wrestling, the world champion for the second consecutive week puts on another match with Gunther coming out and taking on Otis Spunkmeyer, as I like to call him now. He said they cheer because they pity him. I asked him if he looked himself in the mirror. He did. He had a belt on. He knows he couldn't put a belt on. I was like dying laughing. Gunther just makes me laugh, dude. He's fucking hilarious. But yeah, I wrote this literally down. I said, can we talk about 1 minute? Can we talk for 1 minute about how this is what a champion should do? Wrestle, defend the title. It only makes sense to have the heavyweight champion of your product out there on television each and every week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, and this sucks because we're only gonna get
that's 2 good matches in a row. Akira was a good match. This one was even better because Otis is a fucking truck.
Yeah. Like he lets him get some shine in, lets them have a moment. But it's like, and it serves its purpose. Everything has served its purpose here. You know what I mean? Yep. Everything is serving its purpose to get Jay and Gunther in the ring, to wrestle one another, for Jay to get the upper hand, for Jay to be up in the upper hand. Oh, shit, Gunther's got him. He's putting him to sleep in the middle of the ring. Yep. He's standing tall. Because he has specifically said from the beginning, every week for the next, whatever, it's like 9 weeks, I'm going to make your life a living hell. Like, that's what he said, and that's what he's consistently doing. But he's doing it by being a fighting champion at the same time. It's going to make me sad whenever he probably more than likely loses, which I'm not 100% convinced he loses now, but I'm also convinced that he does lose because I'm like, you can't have both bad guys, quote unquote, win the main events. It does make me mad now because it really feels like Uso, if he wins, it's going to be the opening night one. And I really wanted him to main event night too. But obviously Cena versus like Cody Rhodes is definitely more of the main event. But
yeah. And I will say the one thing that has irked me the past 2 weeks, and Jay is my dude. That's my dog. However, they keep trying to make him play this underdog role where he's like, they keep saying I'm gonna lose. Nobody wants you to lose, dog. Like literally nobody.
Yeah, literally. Like nobody
wants you to lose. And I know it's supposed to be guys in the locker room probably, but you're the most likable person. Like I don't foresee anybody being like, nah, fuck him. Besides, dude from A-Town Down Under.
Yeah.
But other than that, him and Gunther, like nobody wants you to lose. So I hate that they keep trying to play up like this. Yeah, he keeps coming out there and make me feel bad about myself. And I'm like,
against all odds, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I get it. You want to go in with the chip on your shoulder, but like literally the entire crowd is waiting for you to come out every single week.
Yeah. So if Gunther's out there, they're expecting you to be there.
Yeah.
Period.
So they got to quit doing the I'm such a small guy and no one likes me, bro. Everybody likes you.
Yeah. For me, first of all, also I realized this. Like we saw A-Town Down Under when they were here. I think it was a singles match though versus Penta, I believe it was.
Yeah.
But for me, after seeing them in the ring attack Jey Uso, I'm wondering why these guys aren't tag team champions. I've decided that these guys should be tag team champions.
Yeah. Like they look the part.
Yeah.
Right.
They look like a tag team.
Yeah, and they look
have a tag team name.
They look like Chippendales dancers,
right?
And fucking brolic, bro, out here.
The ripped.
Yeah, I don't know why they can be goofy and still have the belt. Like I don't understand.
Yeah,
Dudley Boys were goofy, but they beat your ass.
Yeah, I'm like, after watching them kind of beat down Jay a little bit, Jay obviously got his back, but it was like, I like these guys. I liked him when we saw him here. I like him when we saw him now here. And I'm like, it makes up for what happens later. We'll talk about it later, but we already know I got a rant coming about those guys. Speaking of like random shit. Okay. So we got the AJ Styles thing in the back, right? With Karen Cross, which is that whole thing's weird to me. I don't really.
I have a theory about that.
All right. I'm listening. I'm ready for some theories.
I think. So my mom calls me and she's talking about the Naomi, Bianca, Jade, right? Because Bianca's her favorite and, she loves her and Jade together. And she's like, you think it was just Naomi? And, people are speculating about when Jade comes out, she takes her Bianca takes her jacket off in the chamber because everybody's like, oh, maybe she had more to do with it than we think. But we keep seeing Karrion Kross put little bugs in everybody's ear. Hey, you're better than what they say you are. You deserve this. And then I think he's the Miz, Sammy, and then we see it with AJ, and where AJ says, "I'm gonna call out Logan." I think they're cultivating this guy to being like this kind of mastermind, and potentially maybe he got in Naomi's ear saying, you deserve to be the tag champion with Bianca. You were here first. She just got here. Why is she taking your spotlight? And then boom. So I feel like it's because it's weird. It's weird when he comes out of nowhere and you're like, why is he here? But I feel like maybe it's leading to some kind of mastermind type of thing.
Yeah, and then so are we just glossing over that AJ Styles and Karen and Braun Breaker had like a thing?
I know.
Did we forget that was a thing?
Like, what happened?
Because now, obviously, like later on in the show, we'll talk about that in a minute. But it just was kind of confused to me, like what transpired. Because now next week, AJ Styles is going to call out Logan Paul in Madison Square Garden. Maybe that's setting up for their WrestleMania match, which I think could be a fucking banger. Will be a banger. Moving on to the Intercontinental Championship match. If I never have to watch Ivy wrestle again, I'll be the happiest person in the world. Like,
I know, man.
She's bad.
I know. It's like you want to like her, but it's just, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't help though that we talked about before. Valkyria is just, there's something like missing, something lackluster. I'm glad that she's like wrestling week to week. Like she's like, hey, who's ever coming for the belt?
Wrestling champion.
Yeah.
We like wrestling champions on this podcast.
Yeah. I was just like, I don't know this whole Ivy Now storyline about her wanting a belt so bad. It just, I don't know, man. It wasn't it.
Is it this is to me, like I haven't been over, like last week was a little bit better. I haven't been thoroughly impressed with Lyra Valkyrie's Intercontinental Championship run. I don't think it's been that. I don't know if it's her. I don't know if the matches that she's getting booked might be part of the problem. But to me, she's not really like, you're supposed to be the first women's Intercontinental Champion. And it feels kind of just
I think it's because we don't know her. Like there's no talking on the mic. There's no story. It's just like, you're a champ. Go fight.
Yeah, and I guess that's a good point too. Like she hasn't really, like, where's her mic time? Where's the promo? Where's the getting to kind of know this character a little bit more? She's champion now. Like, what do we do? I appreciate the fact that she's a fighting champion. We talk about that all the time. Like, we appreciate the fact that she's going out here and wrestling these matches every week because it puts the, it's a title match. It's important. I'm gonna let every woman in the locker room. You want a shot at me? I guess I would be willing to bet that Raquel's going to get her shot here either next week or the week after, especially after what Liv Morgan said in the locker room. But I don't know. I don't know. Like, but Ivy Nile did. I don't like that. I don't think she's great in the ring. I could care less about her character. Maybe she's just the little valet type thing for American Made. I understand she's a little bit bigger to be that, but like maybe every once in a while she gets into like a mixed 6-man tag match or something. But to me, I'm not a fan. Never really been a fan. But yeah, I don't know. Something's missing with Valkyrie. I do think you might be onto something though, saying we don't really know her character though. I feel like you're onto something there with that because I feel like that's something that we need to see. Ludwig Kaiser. I didn't really care for this. The Kaiser promo with Penta and that whole like exchange between them two was very bad too.
I feel like they're forcing this. Like
they
don't
know what to do with Penta. I don't think.
No. I think that he is a lot bigger than they anticipated.
Yeah.
So they're like, we have to show this guy, and I think that they are potentially rushing through the Chad Gable, storyline to get him his luchador training or whatever. And Kaiser is just a placeholder until he gets back.
Yep.
Because it felt like, especially after you've already kind of beat him in a match, essentially. Then you have to go back out there and be like, yeah, it's my time. We want to go again. And like, well, you beat him already. Like, what do you have to prove? It should be Penta out there saying, hey, you cheated. Like something. Like it should
Yeah,
have been
you
the other way
didn't pin
around.
me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like you pinned
Yeah.
nobody. I didn't really lose the match, et
Yeah.
cetera, et cetera. Yeah, that
But
little that
I did like Kaiser. Like he felt comfortable on the mic though.
yeah, I
He,
agree with
you
that.
know what I mean?
Yeah, I
And
just
but
didn't
I
like
couldn't I couldn't place the accent though. It was like a mixture of German and like Texas.
yeah, it was definitely weird. The little Chad Gable thing was pretty funny. I can't wait to see what they do with it. Only because I like Gable, and I think the
Yeah.
reason I like Gable is ever since we saw that first match with him and Penta, it was just a banger of a match. But speaking of bangers, oh wait, tag team title match. Look, I tried. Okay, was this tag match better than the one they had in Nashville? Yes, it was a little bit better. However, I don't like the War Raiders. Every week they're on my TV, I'm going to consistently tell Dom how much I do not like the War Raiders. I'm going to tell you guys at home listening. I don't know what it is. I genuinely have no.
The crowd was dead.
Right.
Like
And
when
because
they
they were
came out,
pretty
the crowd
loud
was
for them
like,
here. They
yeah.
were pretty loud from here, but like Buffalo, they didn't really care about these War
Buffalo
Raiders
was
guys.
not impressed.
No, and it's just because they don't look like a tag. I don't.
Yeah, no. I told like the smaller guy Eric when they came out, and I was like, it's unfortunate that he's not wearing pants. Like you look all tough and shit, and then it's like, bro, you could have worn pants and you would look badass, but you decided like, nah, I need to have this thigh meat out.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, and
Match was
again, I think this is another case of there is no story.
yeah.
Like to get me
This
to
is like another
care.
placeholder. You know what I mean? Like you're right. Like who?
Yeah.
Like, but what are we placeholding for? You know what I mean? Like
I don't know.
where's the other tag teams that are? Because now this is over to me. American Made loss.
Yeah.
They're out of the picture now.
Yep.
You got your tag team title shot. You're out. Who's in next? Because like, what are we doing with these tag team champions? I don't think. I don't know.
I mean,
Unless the New Day are coming in, but then
that's
again,
what I was gonna say.
we saw the
Are we
fucking we saw the
slowly?
LWO Rey Mysterio promo calling him out again. So at
That's
some point,
true.
we're gonna get another Rey Mysterio versus New Day shit going.
Yeah.
I
don't know, man. I don't know if they're because I saw a guy from NXT is in TNA.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they're slowly putting him on a bigger stage to eventually move him over. And he's got like two guys he wrestles with in TNA. Big ass dude. I don't know his name. Forgive me. But maybe they're waiting on some new guys to come through. I don't know if I know the Street Profits, they want DIY, so they're kind of out of the picture. Yeah, I don't know if you I don't know what it is, because most of the people on Raw are singles. So yeah, I don't know what you hold the place for.
Okay, so that's SmackDown. So according to this website, as of March 4th, right, tag teams, okay? So we have A-Town Down Under, which again, I feel like those could be some good challengers, right?
Yeah.
Alpha Academy, I don't even like, they're like the misfits. You know what I mean? I don't mind them together. I think they're funny, but they're not tag team champion worthy. American Made, I like them as a faction, but more so just because of Chad Gable. The Creed brothers could go to wherever they want to.
Yeah.
And that's like, that's it.
Yeah.
Like, literally, I mean, obviously, Judgment Day. I'm scrolling through the Latino World Order. God, no. And of course, obviously, the New Day. But like, that's it. Like, where's the Raw tag teams? You know what I mean? Like, and there's some, you know, obviously, and then of course, let's see here, like a SmackDown. Like, bring over the Street Profits. You know what I mean? Bring them over. Like, especially if you're not gonna have them be champions. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I'm looking at some of these. I mean, they got the Motor City Machine Guns. Maybe bring those guys over. You know what I mean? They could probably have some banger matches with the New Day. You know what I mean? But I don't know. Like the Las Garzas, I don't even know who those guys are, but I don't know.
Hell, make some kind of weird.
Bring the Hardy Boys in.
Right. Or make some kind of weird tag team with Penta and AJ Styles or some shit.
Yeah. Yeah, something, and I don't know. The next segment's not much better. Okay, we got Braun Breaker and Finn Balor.
Oh yeah,
I don't care.
Out of nowhere.
Like, again, I don't get how we just flew right by AJ Styles existing in this picture. But that just shows the inconsistency in the writing on so many levels of this show. Like last week's show, we talked about it. Probably the best show on Netflix yet. And don't get me wrong, this ends with a banger. And that's the only reason the main event, Ripley versus Sky, saved this entire show from being a complete and utter dud to me. But I could care less about Finn versus Braun. Now, if you take Braun out of the picture and let Finn be Intercontinental Champion, I'm all for it. You know what I mean? Because Finn is awesome. He's fantastic in the ring. He's going to be tested because Braun Breaker cannot, and I mean repeat, cannot wrestle. He can kill you with a 7,000 mile per hour, spear or whatever it is. Which, please, for the love of God, stop doing. Everybody's doing a spear.
I know.
But Jey Uso did like 6 of them in the whole exchange, and like this guy comes out and does one. But I'm still IC champion because I'm a dog, is what he said. That was what he said. Those were words that came out of Braun Breaker's mouth. That's not my mouth, okay? Let's not get it twisted here. But Braun Breaker is still IC champion because no other reason than the fact that he's a dog. I don't know, Dom. And maybe I don't know what to think here because obviously you pinned the Judgment Day in a bubble where none of the guys are winning, right? None of the guys can win matches. The women are champions finally. We're talking about adding a new member. What does that look like? Finn seems to potentially break out on his own. Potentially. I don't really know what to do here. What do you feel about Braun, Finn? What's going on here?
Yeah, first off, I want to know, what does Carlito do anymore? Is he hurt? Why is he just always eating his apples and chilling? Apple a day keeps him out of the ring, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, I like Finn. I like to see, give him a real rivalry. I think trying to match, I guess his aggression with Braun's aggression is what they're trying to do, but we know that Finn is he outclasses him in the ring. He's just too good of a wrestler. Yeah, I think Braun doesn't need that belt anymore. Let him have that match so he can lose a belt, because I don't know why he has. I mean, he has the Frankensteiner, a spear, and then a jackknife. That's really about it, or a shoulder press. He has a very limited amount of moves. This was an episode where there was a chunk where I was on my phone. I haven't done that in the episode. I was just oh, well, this don't really matter. It's sad.
We were 4 matches this week, and the IC title match wasn't very long. Gunther and Otis wasn't very long either. That was less than 10 minutes. I think the IC title match maybe went 10 minutes. Tag team title match maybe went 15, and then IYO and Rhea Ripley probably went, I think, maybe 15, maybe 20. Speaking of that, big match of the night, women's world title match, Ripley, IYO Sky. Fantastic, right? Fantastic match. These two bangers. I think we called it on the show last week. We both said that Sky would probably win. I think we both said that last week.
Yeah, and look, I don't know if this is I don't know who knows what, but I do remember after the Elimination Chamber, Bianca was up there with Big E, Serator, and Rosenberg. And Rosenberg said, how do you feel about going against IYO? And I was like, yo, did he fuck up? Because he didn't mention Rhea. I think Bianca may have brought her up, and I was like, yo, he might have, because he got so excited.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, did he fuck up and give it away? And then IYO turns out to be the champion. And I'm like, yo, I don't know. Maybe it's just a coincidence, but he said it. Peter Rosenberg, you fucked up. You might have fucked up. But no, that I
Yeah, Peter
mean,
Rosenberg. You can't get one past Don Fisher, baby. You know what I mean?
that dude, like, and I know, like there was a little bit of ring rust for a second with Rhea.
Yeah.
Because I remember there was a move she was trying to do, and look, her knee kind of gave way a little bit. But other than that, dude, like, I mean, those two, when you see the styles, it doesn't look like it would make a great match like the way it did.
Agreed.
Because Rhea is very much a brute, and the IYO
Yeah.
is a flyer. But
Yeah.
it turned out so great.
Yeah.
Because IYO, I mean, she's one of the best. I mean, I've been
Yeah.
watching some clips recently, and I didn't like. I had heard like she's like, oh, she's legit,
dog, bro.
but
She's a
like,
real dog.
I mean, she even got a match with like Penta back in the day, and I was like, oh,
Yep.
she out here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm even glad they're letting her talk a little bit more. I know they're kind
Yeah.
of hesitant because her accent's really thick, or she doesn't know a whole lot of English. But I think that's what makes it even better.
Mhm.
Is that, like, we said before, you don't have to say a lot of words to get your point across, and all she has to say is, "I will be champion." You're like, oh shit.
Exactly. What's going on? Yeah, to me, so this is my thing. I love the match, love the setup, but this is one thing I'm asking for here, okay? This is what I'm asking for. I'm begging for a full-fledged Ripley heel turn.
Oh yeah.
I want you could just tell they're just a little something. If you look at her at the end of the match, you know what I mean?
I think
She
it's
was
because I think it started with Charlotte. When Charlotte
yeah.
kind of told her, "You're just a kid, like you're not worth her time." And then when Bianca was talking shit, and she's kind of like, "What? You don't want to face me?" Now it's getting to, like, that breaking point of, like, losing confidence and, no, I am good enough, and to where she just flips out and crushes anybody in the path potentially. Um, it could be really good. And I don't know if you let her go on a single tear by herself, or if I feel like after the chamber, Damien just seems like he's in the background again. So I don't know if you team them back up, or if Finn leaves Judgment Day and they team back. I don't know how you want to do it, but like,
Yeah, because I'm thinking like the way she looked, right? She was pretty distraught after the match. There's a lot of factors in play. Like it wouldn't surprise me if like next week we see it, a little deal in the back in the locker room. Ripley done beat the shit out of Sky. You know what I mean? Like, she just got frustrated. You know what I mean? And I think I would love it. You know what I mean? I'd eat it up because to me, when you're looking at Io Sky, Bianco Blair, that's gonna be a great match. Like,
yeah,
I think you could even like I don't know. I hope that Sky doesn't turn into like a transitional champion for like
you're
Sky to
right.
lose to Bianca. I also could see Jade coming into the picture there, maybe costing Bianca the title. You know what I mean? Maybe, but yeah, I mean, again, for me, match of the night by far easily, is this women's title match, and by far it saved the entire show because, I mean, outside the Gunther stuff, I didn't mind the Punk stuff, but Punk, Gunther, and this match was really the only shining parts of the entire show, and that's. It's kind of getting to the point now where, especially when you're coming off such a big monumental moment in wrestling history, you kind of let the fans down on a Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, and I'm kind of wondering, since it is Madison Square Garden next week, and we just had, saw what happened with the Chamber, don't know what's going to happen on SmackDown. Is this where Roman comes back next Monday because it is Madison Square Garden, and we haven't really seen much of him since he got curb stomped?
Yeah.
So, like, does he
Well,
make
yeah.
a?
Does he come out during the cage match? Right.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I feel like because you can't bring him 2 or 3 weeks outside of WrestleMania. I think next week is a perfect time you bring him back, and it sets up something, even if it's just a revenge in the moment, the same way that Seth did Punk. Maybe he gets at Seth and makes him lose his match, and of course, with Punk. I feel like he alluded to it, but he still has that favor. So I think that's when you have to bring Roman back. And I'm sure there's somebody else that makes an appearance because, like I said, it is Madison Square Garden, so they're gonna make this like as big as possible outside of it being a PLE.
For sure. I'm looking forward to it. Anything, it just can be better than this week's episode. That's it. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, just an okay episode of Raw, especially coming off that banger. But yeah, that's it for this week's episode of the Raw on Netflix podcast. We'll be back next Tuesday breaking down the latest episode of Monday Night Raw.